Respect and gratitude, everyone. Welcome tonight to our High Frequency Living Divination Workshop here on the Tarvars of the Sun YouTube channel. Tonight we will have a group call for the truth divination card reading and an explanation of the cards. So feel free to join in with the comments and questions in the chat. And tonight I'm happy to have Tarvars of the Sun with me tonight. Thank you, Tarvars.
Lakesh Veritas, happy to be here.
In Lakesh and Veritas, it will be a wonderful session tonight. I know the cards that are going to come forward are going to be very cool. So I just want to have a few things before we start. I am Diane of the Sun, owner of Lakesh Studio One, a franchise of the Sun. We offer quantum light property clearing services, truth and tea, call for the truth card readings, and other services and products. And you can check everything out at inlakeshstudio1.com. And you can also check us out on Instagram at inlakeshstudio1. And every Friday we post a Frequency Friday card. And today's card was Elevation. So check that out. The greatest defense against darkness is to fill yourself up with light so that you don't become part of the darkness. So check that out. And also check out the Of the Sun light body movement to fill yourself up with light. High Frequency Living offers live streams which focus on high frequency living lifestyle topics like meditation and breathwork, wellness and nutrition, Of the Sun classes and modalities like quantum light property clearing and soul translation, light body movement, and many other high frequency topics. All the live streams are recorded, so be sure to check out our previous live streams and all the other podcasts as well. And we have a new live stream on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern featuring Lauren of the Sun with flowers and frequencies. And she has brought forward daffodils and sweet peas so far. So check that out. And I believe next week she's going to be sharing some information about an event that she's doing tonight in Milwaukee. So I'm looking forward to that. And check us out on Wednesdays at noon Eastern. We have our midday meditation, and the topic is in tandem with the light body movement. And this month is the throat chakra. That's the current topic. And on Thursdays at noon Eastern, Tarvars of the Sun and Tarvars of the Sun present the Call for the Truth live stream with a lively and uplifting conversation with going in depth with a Call for the Truth card. And next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern will be in Lakesh Studio One's Evolutionary Book Club. And we will be reading or discussing the book Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. And this is an environmental book that was written in 1962, but I think it really has a lot of pertinent information for today. And it also relates to me, it relates to our quantum light property clearings that we do and how we affect the earth. So I hope you can join us then. And if you have any questions, there are other links and information in the description for tonight. And you can also contact at ofthesun.com or myself at info@inlakeshstudio1.com for any questions you have. So thank you for joining tonight. And I invite you to join me calling for the highest possible vibration. Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? And shall we call for the truth? Shall we call to see the truth in all things? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we have the courage to speak the truth and accept nothing less than the truth in all of our experiences? All Okay, so we are calling for the truth tonight. So these are the Call for the Truth Divination cards. And these cards were created by Laota after she wrote her book, Call for the Truth. And these are a companion to the book. So these these cards have so many layers. Each card has multiple layers. They were designed by Tarvars. Thank you, Tarvars. Beautiful design on both sides. They're holographic. They have a color that relates to the chakras. As you can see, all the different colors. They have a topic and they have a maxim, a quote from Laota. And many of them are in her book, and many of them are from classes and different things. There's a number, there's a platonic solid color. It's very multidimensional. So we'll be going through all the layers as we do our reading tonight. So the first thing we do is we knock on the cards 3 times to clear from any previous readings. And we synchronize and harmonize with the cards. The cards have consciousness, as everything has consciousness. So we synchronize and harmonize with the cards and ask for the best message for tonight. And the question that I'd like to present is, what is the truth message for all of us to hear tonight regarding our current experiences? So we'll keep that question in mind as we shuffle. And we will do a 3-card reading tonight. Past, present, and future. And we'll go through 1 card at a time, and then we can talk afterwards to bring them all together. So the past card this is so interesting. Elevation. The greatest defense against darkness is to fill yourself up with light so that you don't become part of the darkness. Think the thoughts that support higher realms of experience. And this is the card I pulled today for the Frequency Friday. So it's so interesting. And actually, I pulled this yesterday for myself as well. So it's a theme. Keep bringing that light in. So this is related to the throat chakra, or correction, the third eye chakra, number 6, about intuition, imagination, and thoughts. So when you change your thoughts, you can elevate. You change your thoughts from darkness and you bring it into light. So this is the color indigo, about intuition, perception, deep concentration, vision, self-knowledge. However, the flip side then is judgmental, self-righteous, and narrow-mindedness. So when we see ourselves becoming judgmental, judging someone or something, time to get that light into us and take away that darkness. So this is the number 6. And the number 6 is conscientious. It desires to bring harmony, truth, justice, and a sense of balance into the environment. Love and compassion are uppermost in its mind, effective as counselor or healer. Others are drawn to it because of the understanding that emanates from it. Number 6 vibration is ready to take on the social and family responsibilities. Number 6 is domestic and artistic and adjusts their needs to others. And this is the dodecahedron, which is about ether, ascension, divinity, and oneness, and connecting with our spirit energy. And that's our light helps us connect with our spirit energy. So this is the past card. And the past card, it's not only what happened in the past, and the past could be 5 minutes ago, because the past is not the current. And so the past events still affect us as we move forward, and they are either holding us back or they help us move forward. So if we use the light to help us move forward, that's a positive thing. But if we don't, then it does hold us back from our elevation. If we stay stagnant in the anti-life darkness, sometimes being comfortable, we don't realize necessarily that we're in the dark, in the anti-life, but we need to get out of that comfort zone to move up and elevate. So those are some of my thoughts. Tarvars, do you have some thoughts about this card?
Yes, I have a few thoughts. And going back to your initial question that you prompted, what is the truth we need regarding our current experiences? So it's pretty open-ended. And so I began to, as you're reading the card, look at the different layers of the experiences and see where I'm guided to focus and hone in on. And so I was looking at this from the perspective of primarily souls who are hearing the call for what we may refer to as ascension. I like to say ascension because really it's a going inward, and I get the going up too. I'm with it, but it's like in and up, odd binary. However, that is one of the attributes of the dodecahedron. And when we think about the dimensionality, the layers of consciousness of the sixth chakra, that's way above the third, So the idea of raising up, that's where we can find our power. That's how we can defend ourselves against darkness that we're seeing. And there is a deconstruction that's taking place, and it is on multiple levels. I can see it in my own reality as it relates to shifting more of my consciousness into what I've been referring to as solar consciousness. We actually, in Of the Sun in general, have referred to it as such. And seeing and understanding who we are as beings of light. And of course, the card says fill yourself up with light as a form of defense, where what we're broadcasting, what we're transmitting, but it requires us to operate much higher. This is definitely a higher level of consciousness that's required from us to also inform the lower levels. And so that's essentially where I'm seeing, or what I'm picking up. And that's again the immediate reality. But then if we kind of scale out, I can see where there's a greater deconstruction. There are concerns regarding the direction that even not just the world, but just Western society, what's happening, what we're seeing, and making sure that as we are in our process of elevating consciousness, ascending, or going within, that we stay above the distractions or the darkness, and continuing to fill up with light. So this is where I'm at. This is how I'm looking at the cards based on the question that's prompted, and it's both from an individual and a collective perspective. Oh, Diane, looks like you're muted.
Thank you, Tarvars. Yes, it's always helpful to look at it from both perspectives. You know,
Yeah.
what's happening in our individual lives, but what's happening in the collective too, in the world.
Mhm.
And there are so many people, I think, trying to figure that out. You know, how do we elevate and stay above this? We all are here for this reason. We're here to help move into that new way of life. And as we create it for ourselves, we create it for everyone else as well. And when they're looking for that and keep the light there, that's the key to stay there. I know that's the key for me. Stay
Yeah,
there.
I think that's for us all. I'd like to speak a little more on it. We've been talking about stabilizing in the light, and so
Yeah.
that I think that's a thing for us all, where it's one thing to be able to raise yourself up into higher frequency, to broadcast light, but can you hold it? Because that's what we're encountering when we um, are confronted with seemingly the darkness from outside. It's like, oh my gosh, the negativity is so strong. It's not stronger. It's just able to sustain it. And so to offset, we must sustain the light longer. And it's a skill set. It's a muscle. It truly is. And we're within our collective, we are most certainly in the training process of building said muscle.
Yes, it is a building the muscle.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing to remember that it is a muscle to do. It's not, and not to not get upset when things kind of dip a little. It's like, okay, I
Yeah,
dip, okay, get right back up. It's like falling off a horse, get right back on. Go, keep moving.
certainly agree.
Because it does. I know you've mentioned this before too, where it's like a cycle, and sometimes when you dip, you just dip less than before. Instead of dropping really far, now you're just dipping a little bit and keep going, and then you keep getting higher and higher. I like that analogy.
Yeah, yeah, it's something that's real. I've had clients ask me, and I'm thinking about one in particular. She said, "Is there ever a time where we just stop and like we get there?" And she was fully in the mode of, "Look, when do I not have to take care of my energy hygiene?" I said, "When do you ever have to stop cleaning your house, or washing your body? Come on now." But it can get better though. It doesn't have to be always this big drop where
Mhm.
it's the pulsing, but I think that primarily, not think, but my journey has shown me that it comes with the diligence and persistence. Just like working out, building muscle, muscle doesn't happen overnight. It happens from repetition,
Yes,
adaptation.
consistency. Yeah,
Yeah.
consistency. Yes. Does anyone in the chat have any questions or comments about the past card, the elevation? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next one. Welcome, everyone, again. All righty. So, our current card is Sacred Space.
This is a good one already.
Yes, everywhere you step is sacred space, but you need to own it, know it, and be it. So that's where we are right now. We need to know and own and be our sacred space, ourselves, our authentic self in our sacred space. And the book further reads that we arise from our sacred Mother Earth we step upon. We are children of the divine. So we have to remember that we are sacred. We are sacred, and everywhere we step is sacred space. So everywhere we
Oh Oh, Diane, what happened? What had happened to Diane? Okay. Well, I'll give Diane a moment to return back. And I'm over here looking for my booklet. I got my cards, everybody. I don't have my booklet. However, let's speak and continue on with what she was sharing. So I want to take it back a little bit because I'm seeing uh, this ongoing narrative coming forth from the divine based off of that past card and the present card. All right, yeah, I think she's having some type of Wi-Fi issues, so we'll give her a moment to come back online. But until then, hang out with T for a little bit till Auntie Diane returns back. So, with that being said, that first card pull, our greatest defense against darkness is to fill yourself up with light and think the thoughts that support higher realms of experience. She mentioned something about the dodecahedron and these other attributes associated with the number six, and six being conscientious, right? And there was another line, and this is the piece that I want to hone in. It embodies the counselor or the healer. And so, this idea of like when we go up into the higher realms or by way of the light, we can tap into or the embodiment of the aspects of ourselves that can both counsel and heal. I often make this is it's a joke, but it's so serious, especially when you understand ideas of dimensionality. That the higher energy centers, 5, 6, 7, they deal with the angelic realm. So when you start attuning to those, you can attune to these higher realms of not just angelic but benevolent beings, etc. Right. So when we're in that space, again, the higher aspects of ourself exist there that we can tap into, and it's like you can start hearing things and feeling things and seeing um, with more clarity regarding your circumstance, when we're seeking guidance, but again from within. And of course, raising up into the higher realms, it allows for greater healing to take place. Case in point, I have had experiences where here at the sun we do light body activation, and within light body activation, oh, she was almost. Oh, okay, there she goes. There she goes. Welcome back, Diane. I was holding it down for you, or holding it up. And
Thank you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Uh, I want to finish this thought. I was on a roll because I'm like, all right, we got to fill up the space.
Thank you.
But I was sharing with them about light body movement, and in light body movement, we have this activation for releasing congestion, and part of it is removing programs. And so, in the removal of the programs, it require I have been most effective at removing things or uh, attachments and programs from my being by being all the way up here. I can't do it from the lower centers. I've had to heal myself up with light and have enough will to direct that light into these dark areas where the programs reside. So, with that being said, just to bring you back up to speed, Diane, I was recapping your first and second card because the first card with the number six mentioned being conscientious and embodying the counselor and or the healer, and that happens by way of raising into higher consciousness. The healer exists within, the guide or the counselor exists within, and about that. We'll be journaling and our guide. you know we, we get the information we need.
Yes,
It's like
we do.
internal counseling. And so the last little bit was just that this I can see this ongoing narrative developing regarding the necessity to know who and what we are in this time. So that's what I got on that. But you were in the middle of continuing to share with us some of those details of the sacred.
Yes, this is glory and motivation. And then the color is pink or rose, about romance and femininity, nurturing unconditional love and affection and hope. However, the flip side is weak, immaturity and inhibition. So we need to be aware of those and flip that script into being nurturing and unconditional love for ourselves. That's the most important thing is we love ourselves so that we can shine out our love. And number 8 will assume power. It has achieved control and responsibility in its field. Recognition and financial rewards are bestowed, and growth in the business world takes place. 8 karma is king, and we reap what we have sown. Power is associated with the 8 ardor, zeal, steadfastness, and the ability to see in broad terms. Give it ambition and the qualities needed to achieve material goals. And this is even higher than the dodecahedron, but it's related. I think it's past the ether. Is it past the ether? Is it space?
Yeah, so on the card, the idea of it being like beyond the ether is more so like
Okay.
this. It's represented by the sphere,
Thank
so
you.
it's this idea of the totality of all that is. Going into the higher realms, it's beyond just the slithers of consciousness of fire, earth, air, water, ether. It's just no, it's just the isness that the ether even comes from.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay.
Well, I got a quick little thought
Gotcha.
on this too. The
Okay.
There's a couple of things that stand out. As I mentioned, this knowing who we are. When you were reading some of the attributes, glory, motivation, and the flip sides of nurturing and unconditional love, and then the flip side of immaturity, weak, inhibition, and how it directly correlates with one who does not recognize that they are sacred. It directly correlates with a soul that is operating in detriment. When we show up to a space and we're like, damn, like I guess, oh, and our field starts contracting in because of what someone's saying or their stature or what's in the environment of the field, and how that flip side of the what's required to strengthen us is the nurturing and the love that comes from understanding what we arise from. And think about like how how they say we are the children of our parents. We have a lot of the same personality traits, and Lotus always makes this joke saying, "Who's your daddy?" you know Who's your mother? It's like, I know who my mama is. I know who she is. And so by way of that, I have some of her attributes of the nurturing that's necessary for me to lock in to the sacredness. And then there was another word that came up with the 8, steadfastness. And I think that
Mm,
speaks back to what we were talking about earlier of what's required of us, the diligence, the discipline, for the habit building. The
mm,
steadfastness is required for one to step into a space, and we know we're sacred and we know what we bring to the space and the value we have with the light that we carry. So the cards are building up here to really tell us who and what we are. So I'm intrigued to see what that
yes.
that last card is. You had any other thoughts on that?
Okay. I really like how they are building up that the light, we have to know that we are the light, that we are sacred. When we know that, we are then we do see that. And when we know it, we see it and we feel it and we act it. We are
Mm,
it, and we bring that wherever we go.
that's right. No second guessing.
Yes. No.
Shine on, Diane. Shine on.
Shine on. Yes, we all need to, and the light comes from within. Yes, we get it from outside, but it's within us that's coming out, that's trying to come out, and it's pushing all that darkness out. And it's like, oh, sometimes I can feel that push. It's like, okay, it's time to release this, this old whatever. Just let it go because you need to have the light for this time. So
Most certainly. I
I
most
like
certainly agree.
that. Yes, that's so. There's a comment here from Stacy, and also a comment. Gina, thank you. Gina joined in Lakesh and Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, integrity, discipline, and action. Thank you to you two delightful souls. Oh, you're welcome. with lots of emojis. Thank you, Gina. And Stacy says the ability to live in light allows us to trust in our divine protection that helps know and live in the truth that everywhere is sacred space because we are sacred beings holding light. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. All righty, so let's see what the future card is.
Drum roll.
Okay. So
Hey.
that is fear. And this card says, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Because we know that when we do things, if we build up some fear to something and then we do it, there really is no reason to be afraid. And fear is a projection in the future of something that is not going to happen. And I think you talked about that in the podcast yesterday, a little bit about people doing things and not and seeing that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about lying
Yes, about
and
lying.
the
Exactly.
the the fear that
Fear.
drives the need, or it's not really not a need, but the desire to lie. And it is not as bad as we think it is. And it's such a thing with fear. And I'm sure you've had that experience too, where like you finally do the thing, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm still alive. And this was so much easier than I thought. It's always like that. But that
Yes.
dang on fear, I got a thought really quick. I think about this often, Diane, and for the people who are tuning in, of how we are the greatest prize. We have so much value, and we have been tricked to think nothing of ourselves. We've been tricked to think that we don't have power, and our worth isn't anything. But the reality is that these energies and these entities out here all are just waiting to occupy space within our minds and within our soul blueprints and our light bodies. And sometimes I often ask myself, in terms of like the dark forces on the planet, like, damn, like they are trying like really hard, like they've been doing this for millennia. There's gotta be something about us. They're trying so hard, and we're the prize. And how we are used against ourselves, and by way of the fear. And you're saying like, look, we don't have to create based off of fear. And but yet sometimes we do, and we give it power and don't realize that the fear needs us, or these worst case scenarios that are projected on us, that tries to tap into the darkness in us that we haven't cleared. It needs us to participate. So it's like that perspective, it really helps me see my value and humanity's value as a whole. And I would even say, I feel like I'm getting a little ahead, but every card that came before this feels as though it is looking to get us to lock in, so that we can overcome any of this fear, not be used as a puppet or a host for parasitic manipulation.
Yes, I agree. It is keeping us moving, elevating. It's a reminder. This card, I think, is a reminder to step out of that fear and just do it,
Right. That's
because
right.
you know that you are sacred and you have the power because you have the light. So you can do this. And so, yes, I think all of that, it has been building up the confidence for us to say, hey, you can do this. Don't let this fear. This is something we're trying to dismantle in this lifetime. We are moving from the fear based world into the more love based world, and everyone living in harmony and not in the fear and the war and all of that conflict, into the being in harmony. And so we're in that time. So we just need to remember We're moving forward with
Yeah.
the light. So, yes.
Reminders.
So this the book has some more information too, and it states we all have fear. Do not let the fear stop you. The trick is fear, getting you to plan ahead to be afraid, accepting fear as a strategy, planning to serve your fear. When you do this, you have already lost.
That's what I'm talking about, Diane. That's
Yeah.
literally what I was talking about. It
Hmm.
eats us.
It does. And once we realize that, we can just say, we can collapse the whole thing.
Right.
Just collapse it. Absolutely collapse the whole thing. So this card though is about the root chakra,
Mhm.
about stability and support and our physical identity. And the color red about power and passion and intensity and action. Action, take action and determination, ambition. However, then the flip side is the anger, danger, and warning. So we have to make sure that when we get into that, the fear is a warning, pretty much like, oh, all right, why is that fear coming up? And we explore it and go, oh, nothing to be afraid of. Keep moving, you
I like
know,
that perspective. Like instead of like cowering towards it, you flip the frequency, the
flip it.
perspective of okay, it's a little sign, like red flag, literally. It's red.
Right. Yes, the
Red
red
flag
flag.
on.
Yes, yes. So this is the number one, and it represents the male principle, the yang, and it is the trailblazer striking out alone, seeking the experiences which will establish its distinct identity. It is a process of discovering its own abilities. It is raw energy, positive, original, and creative in a state of perpetual motion. Number one is alone and is imbued with creative energy. It must decide how its energy will be used. So it's really using that light energy. How are you going to use it? You use it against the fear. Fear comes in, light it up, get it out, get it out. So
I
this is
agree.
the hexahedron and about grounding, connecting to earth energy. And so that's really important. When you're grounded, I think I found when I'm grounded and solid, I don't really have fear. The fear doesn't enter. It kind of it doesn't even come into my mind. But if I'm not grounded, if I'm scattered in some way, that's when it shows up. So staying grounded, being outside, and I know you're a big proponent of that, Tarvars, too, and you've been having videos of being outside and in the sun and earthing, on the earth, and it really is helpful. I know I've
It
seen it
most
helping you.
certainly is.
You've mentioned it in your videos. So
I like the last part that you spoke on. Uh, we must decide how the energy is used, and it
mm,
just really encapsulates all the cards and the information that came prior. By the way, just checking. Is there any lag coming in on your end from my camera, or is it pretty smooth?
there's a little bit.
Okay, I think my laptop needs a little nap. Hasn't napped
Mm,
for like 2 3 days, so it's a
oh,
thing, right? Take a
okay.
nap. Anywho, so
Yeah.
I'll just keep going. But the point is, I totally agree with you. That was a standout for me tuning into the cards. And we must decide. And oftentimes, actually, I want to shout out a quote from Laota, and this is something that has stuck with me since the moment she shared it. One of the most powerful things we have is decision. You
Yes.
know, it's more than just it's more powerful than an activation in and of itself because you can do the activation but have not decided to be coherent and move through alignment with that activation because you still choosing to suffer and be a victim, right? And
Mm,
The power of decision is just it's just so pertinent, and it has everything to do with that sustaining light or choosing to fill ourselves up with light. That's a decision. Seeing the sacred within ourselves, that's a decision. And moving beyond the fear, that's a decision. One last thing, what you were saying about grounding, it is so funny. I have this funny little quirk that I use to help myself with stabilizing and trusting the mother and releasing fear. I walk barefoot a lot outside, but we got pine cones in the yard. There's a lot of pine cones. You know, the pine cones, they got those sharp little pieces on the edge. And I have these moments of the fear of like, okay, what if I step on a pine cone today? And just confidently moving, heel toe action. It's a test. It's so small, but it reverberates through everything else. This idea of the groundedness that the one and the root chakra speaks about, the stability, walking with power, all of these things versus like the danger or the feeling the danger or being afraid of what will happen. I can see how, again, this card, this is what's required for us to stabilize. But it's kind of funny because the cards are like forward, then backwards in time. Like the information is cyclical and looping into each other. That's what I see. And it's like the first two cards will get you to where we need to be to conquer fear, but at the same time, we need to be solid in terms of the stabilization of our root and in our body. To do even the concept of pulling light into us, or to be sacred, to see the sacredness. So it's kind of like a spherical visual that I'm gaining from the movement of the information. What does that make sense
Mhm.
to you, or does that land?
Yeah. I As you said that, I could see the Taurus field, moving because it's bringing in that all the parts that we need. We need the stability. We need the from the earth. We need the grounding. We need the light from within. We need the light to keep moving and that we know that we're sacred. We need that sacred identity as well. So all
Yes.
those I see when I see the Taurus field, I don't know about lines necessarily, but sort of like channels of like different things coming through. It's not solid. It's different frequencies. The frequencies coming through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we've got the light frequency coming through. We've got the grounding and the stability and the sacredness and all of those things are coming together, bringing it in and bringing us all, making us whole. So,
I so agree with you. I
yeah.
think that's a great example for people who are looking to like, stretch more into how can they work with the Taurus field. The idea of all that is, and pulling in frequency, because to me it looks like that too. It's a little different and sometimes fluctuates, but it's that same principle of the pulling in the frequencies, and then you broadcast back out what you're pulling in, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth.
Yes. And it's always changing because we're always changing. So
That's
it's
right.
always good. I'm always looking for all the different, oh, it's different today. Okay, cool. Yes, I like that. So there's a couple little comments here. Um, let's see. Gina says, absolutely. I've been doing more light body movement and watching the fear disappear. Awesome. Very good. And Stephanie says, I agree totally with what Tavares brought forth about we must be something when we firmly and confidently know and walk in who we are. Watch out.
That's right.
Yep.
That's why
Yes.
they trying so hard. They know who and what we are, and they're like, "Damn it, we can't let them wake up. We can't let them wake up. Though, we got to
Yes.
do the most."
Yes. It's so
It's a
funny.
beautiful
So,
time.
yes. And then Gina has another comment. She says, I have been sitting by the trees and meditating. And last night I had 4 kitties just come up to me and my daughter were walking, when her and her daughter were walking. Yep. Now nature is coming to you because you're meditating with nature. So that's pretty cool. And grounding with nature. So thank you for your comments. Did you have any other comments, Vars? This week?
That's the job, Joe Bob. The idea of continuing to pull in the light, and again, this we are living it. I have these moments of thinking about my attempts in the past, and this was like 12, 13, 14 years ago, even prior to connecting with Of the Sun. But in the ideas of, okay, I got chakras and I'm trying to activate them, and it's the way I was going about things really wasn't. I wasn't seeing results, and we're not going to get into the story. But the point I'm making is that it's so satisfying to see what we have available to us, because the growth has been measurable, and it happens. We can see it within our own selves. We can see it in other people. I see it in you. I see it in others who are partaking. They speak on it. You know, Majority of the time, people are like, "Oh man, I see your glow," and it's reciprocal. And you were stating it earlier. You can see it within myself, and it's again, it shows us we're in the pocket, but the stabilization, stabilizing, holding the light. Like finding that pocket to where we're unwaveringly the truth, which I know it requires a little bit of humility and compassion, the context of where we are. But these cards that were pulled, it's really like a guiding light, so to say, like a GPS, like do these things. This is what will help you. And that, I think that this is most of what we want. We want to be able to be above darkness. We want to step into a space and see the power and the influence that we have on the people and the environment itself. And most certainly, we don't want to be consumed by fear, at least consciously. So these are all things that feel very relevant, both on an individual and collective level. Those are some of my final thoughts on this.
Yes. Thank you, Tarvars. Yes, I agree. And so just to recap also with the herbal allies that are coming forward for these cards, for the elevation card and the sacred space card, both of these comes forward the red raspberry leaf. And that's about reaching higher frequencies. And then for the fear card, this comes forward Tulsi, holy basil. And that transforms fear into courage and confidence. So I hope you'll enjoy some red raspberry leaf tea and some Tulsi tea as you continue exploring these cards further throughout the week and how they affect your experience for everyone. So thank you, everyone. And don't forget, Light Body Movement is Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern at ofthesun.com. If you haven't signed up, sign up there. And bring in that light so you can not be part of the darkness. So thank you so much, Tarvars. It was so fun having you here tonight with me. I'm grateful. And I hope to see everybody next week at our book club with Silent Spring. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. In Lakesh and Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude, integrity, discipline, and action.